Hey guys, how's your day been going? Really? Oh, well that's unfortunate. That's sorry to hear. I'm sorry that happened to you. Have you just had a bad day? Don't you worry. I've had bad days like that too. Well, you've come to the right place. We have just the cure to your stressed out day. We'll make sure your day ends with a little cherry on the top, even if the ice cream is crap. The technique we are going to be using today was probably practiced on you when you were 8 or 9, when you were little in general. It's called storytelling. The story we have here is the story of the globe we live in, Earth. It is the life of our planet. This is one of my favorite books, so I'm happy to share it to you. It's full of amazing facts and information. Let's look inside. It even has a good red beginning cover. Earth, the Life of Our Planet, by Mike Goldsmith. That is the author of the book. Look at all the effort they put into this art. Look at that detail. Look at all this coral, this beautiful artwork. Imagine how many hours these artists took to make this beautiful picture. Worlds begin long ago. The part of the universe where our world would one day be born was a cold, dark place. Gray clouds hung silently in space, blocking the light of the stars. Then came a moment, more than 4.75 billion years ago, when everything changed. A great and ancient star died in unimaginably vast explosion. The turrets of energy that were released sent shock waves surging through the clouds, seeding the births of many new stars. Over time, those stars drifted away from one another, making long journeys through the endless blackness of space. Many, perhaps all of them, were surrounded by families of planets. And on at least one of these planets were conditions that were right for a remarkable chain of developments to take place. Sorry, that was a door. That planet was Earth, and this is its story. This is the supernova that took place in order for our solar system to form. Fun fact, everything you see around you was part of the star. So these gloves, these excellent tingling gloves, are made out of star. This book is made out of star. Everything is made out of star. The earth, the sun, everything in our solar system is made out of star. This is a timeline of our entire planet. from cloud storm 4.75 billion years ago to sun birth to all the formations of planets to the birth of our moon, all the way to dinosaurs and the extinction of dinosaurs, and the Ice Age, civilization, and modern era, and even the future. No one knows what the future will bring. Is there any page? Nope, there's no page in between this. This is the beginning. A great dark cloud broods in space. It has been here for millions of years, occupying trillions of cubic miles, drifting in icy silence against a sparkling backdrop of stars, but under the death of a nearby star, in a fiery turmoil of a supernova explosion, it sent shockwaves surging through the cloud. The gas billows and twists, forming thicker, denser areas here and there. It is in one of these areas that Earth's past and future lie. This is the cloud formation that was produced after the supernova explosion. Now, this is the birth of the sun. Through the ceaseless, gentle tug of gravity, nearby cloud particles drift closer. The result is an area of increasing density and rising temperature. Finally, after tens of millions of years, this region of space begins to glow with heat and light. This area right here. Focus on this. This is the center of your life. This very ball of energy. This is the sun when it was a baby. It becomes an infant star, the proto-sun. Meanwhile, some of the nearby cloud material forms a vast discus-shaped arrangement with the proto-sun at its center. Within it, lumps of ice and grit gather and grow. Many worlds, drifting lumps of matter collide and stick together. As they do, they pull in all their gravity, and the pull of their gravity increases, accelerating the collision of matter until some of the lumps that are the size of small planets, but while some merge and grow, others are destroyed. As they orbit around the newborn sun, the young spheres sweep their paths clear of dust and gas, growing still larger as the infant solar system takes shape. This is one of the planets. When planets are babies, they are hot balls of lava, just as a real baby is. They always throw tantrums. All right. The birth of the moon. This is 4.5 billion years ago. Few of the young planets were to survive for long. Many of them crashed into one another with such shattering impacts that they were smashed into pieces. But Earth is luckier. When it is struck by a planet about 1/3 its size, it is only the smaller world that ends up being destroyed. The rubble that remains forms a great disk in orbit around Earth. Slowly within the disk, gravity draws more of the fragrance around, once more shaping them into a great globe of the moon. This is the moon right here. As you see, it is a baby because it's fiery. This is the Earth. At one point, there was a disk around Earth. We were like a mini Saturn because of the disk. But the moon ate all the debris, so there's no more disk, sadly. Earth cools, shattered by the impact of comets and great volcanic rift. The surface of Earth is still hot from the forces of its creation. The fumes from fiery vents have given the planet an atmosphere that would be deadly to human beings and other modern life forms. But slowly, the world is cooling down, and in roughly another 50 million years from the time of this scene, water vapor in the atmosphere will begin to condense. All around the world, great rains will start to fall. Their waters will bring oceans to Earth. Raining down, pitter patter, raining. I'm not sure if I can read every single page. I might not have enough time. Life forms. In Earth's shallow oceans, chemicals form and change in an endless variety of combinations. Strange, complex new molecules are made. They take in energy and other molecules. They grow larger also, and they also split into form copies of themselves. The copies make their own copies, and so their number grows rapidly. Different types appear, more complex still, even more complex than the last. They are able to move around and react to their immediate surroundings. In specks of jelly and clumps of slime, forms of life have appeared on Earth. It is not life as we know it. It is just little microscopic molecules, as you see right here. They're like little worms. Living things like these, each only a fraction of a millimeter long, lived almost 3.5 billion years ago. Now, we are starting to get deeper into evolution. Complex, really complex life now evolves 50 million years ago. For millions of years, life spreads through the oceans of the Earth. Most of their offspring are identical to their parents. Occasionally, they are slightly different, and in rare situations, these differences might give them an advantage. More speed or strength, or superior senses or defenses. These offsprings have a better chance of surviving and breeding. Gradually, they replace the older forms until they, too, are replaced. This process of evolution produces a vast range of plants and animals, all struggling against each other for the limited supplies of food and space available. Most animals eat only plants, but some are ferocious predators that hunt and kill to survive. Look at all this coral. Look at this. I have never seen a creature that bizarre. I apologize. Sorry, my camera died on me in the middle of the recording. Where were we? We were here, right? We were here. Land life. 375 million years ago, While life thrived and fought in the oceans, the lands of the young Earth remained barren and uninhabited, except for thin layers of slime on the rocks. Then, about 450 million years ago, more complex living things began to colonize the land, beginning with plants and insect-like creatures. These creatures left the ocean to find food, escape from enemies, or avoid the lack of oxygen in some coastal waters. Now, about 775 million years later, the smaller species that crawl and scurry around the shore are joined by larger beasts, lumbering landward on four legs. Four-legged creatures will dominate the land from now on. First, the creatures were amphibians, like they were half on land and half in water for their lives. But then they started getting more and more permanent. I have no idea what that is, but it looks scary. Moving on. Page 24. 300 million years ago, vast trees tower the sky, their roots sucking moisture from the swampy ground, in which itself covered in a rich tangle of plant and animal life. This lush and dense vegetation produces a great deal of oxygen, creating the conditions that allow insects to grow into monstrous proportions. Huge dragonflies flap and flicker around the misty light, their shadows sweeping over the scenes of vigorous life, violent death, and rapid decay. The dead remains of the swamp are covered and compressed by layers and layers of new growth until they are deeply buried. Long afterward, they will resurface again in the form of the coal reserves that will fuel the industrialization of Earth. This age is probably the most well-known age other than the modern era. The dinosaur age, 150 million years ago. One highly successful group of reptilian animals, now known as dinosaurs, now it dominates the surface of the Earth. They were called the dinosaurs. The slow but certain process of evolution that colonized almost every part of the planet with forms of life, including the lower atmosphere. But the challenge of flight is far greater for large animals such as reptiles. At first, large airborne species could only flap and swoop clumsily. Then about 100 million years ago, a strange creature called Archipithecus, sorry, I don't know what that is, comes into existence. It has claws and teeth of a reptile, but the features of something is quite new, exciting, and different. It's a bird. This is not a bird, this is a flying dinosaur. There is no birds in this illustration. What is that word? I am not a dinosaur professor. I am a tingle extraction professor. Yes, even professional tingle extractors do not know everything. This is a very sad event, the extinction. More than 100 million years ago, the dinosaurs and their kin were unconquerable masters of Earth, dominating all other life forms on land, in the air, and even under the sea. They might have been its masters still, like even today, but for one world-changing event that occurred about 65 million years ago, a collision between the world and a smaller, airless one, an asteroid, just a mere asteroid. The impact fills the whole atmosphere with thick dust, preventing much of the sun's light and heat from reaching the planet's surface. In the endless, wintry twilight, the dinosaurs are dying out. "2,000 years ago, the Ice Age. These were testing times for life. Freezing weather has swept from the polar regions all the way towards the equator, the warmest part of the Earth, clasping much of the planet in an icy grip. Early humans are puny compared with the great beasts that roam the frozen waters, and yet they survive the onslaught of ice by learning to make fire and work together. They are able to defeat and eat animals much larger than themselves. So while the peak of this most recent ice age spells death for the mammoths, the human species prospers thanks to a unique combination of cunning, inventiveness, and teamwork. Eating mammoths. That is why the mammoths died, because they died. They froze to death and got eaten. I don't know why I had to say that. This event only occurred 4,000 years ago. Civilization. Humans have found a new way of living. About 8,000 BCE, people began to gather in permanent settlements. Small at first, some of them grew rapidly, becoming the first cities. There were many reasons for the success of such places. Animals can be bred and crops can be grown. Animals can be grown nearby, making food supplies more reliable. Living in groups is safer too. Cities also allow people to specialize in different activities, obtaining some things from others rather than producing everything for themselves. Thanks to city life, many traders' skills, arts, and sciences have started to develop. Civilization has begun. Next, we go to only 100 years ago. Industrial Earth. It is merely the blink of an eye compared to the vast age of Earth. But over just a few centuries, the planet is transformed into huge urban areas spread and sprawl across its face, fueled by supplies of coal, oil, and gas laid down hundreds of millions of years ago. Industrialization not only reshapes the world, but it also damages it, contaminating the sea, land, and sky with waste and poison. But industrial technology brings huge benefits and advances in human knowledge too, from new methods of transportation to the conquest of disease and the birth of new sciences. Thanks to industrialization, we were able to research tingles and be able to design videos such as this one. Tingles and relaxation, I should say, if you're trying to sleep. onward. 100 years into the future. Earth's story is only half told. The sun, on which all life depends, is in the middle of its own life, but it has billions of years left, and the planet should survive as long as the star does. Humans, in their determination to explore and expand, have already taken their first courageous steps into a wider universe, and this outward progress is likely to continue. We know that the sun is not an unusual star. There are many like it, scattered like glistening dust throughout the universe. Many, perhaps most of them, have their own families of worlds. When Earth dies in about 5 billion years, one of those worlds may become our second planet. Who knows? Are we done? Oops. Oh, we're not done. From dust to water cloud, to water worlds. 3 to 9 billion years ago. This is a timeline. I won't take the whole time looking at it. I'll just skim through it. From chemicals to creatures. Look, random natural selection created this into this. It's impossible to imagine how that happened, but it did. It's just crazy. It's mind-boggling. It's unimaginable. And then here, from shelters to space stations. When the dinosaurs died, it gave us a clear head go from small rodents to become humans like us today, which led to the Ice Age, which we survived, because if we didn't survive that, we would not be here. Then we decided to start farming and group together and created cities, civilization. Then we industrialized and we nearly killed the planet. Actually, we're currently killing the planet, but that's a different topic. And then outward, 100 years into the future. Who knows what will happen in the next 100 years? Good stuff could happen, such as Martian colonies, or bad stuff could happen, like the end of the world. If we pollute it, if we continue to pollute it, we probably won't have a world to live in. Now, this is the world's history in 5 clocks. The first clock is several billion years. This clock is a couple million years. This clock is about 1 million years. This clock is several thousand years. And this clock is a little bit over 100 years long. This clock is so fast that it would just be like a tiny, tiny, tiny sliver in this clock. So imagine your entire life is probably within this clock. That's nothing compared to the whole scheme. That is just mind-boggling, even for a professional doctor like me. I hope you are amazed too. Now, I also hope you are completely relaxed and have enjoyed this book, because I did. The world still has many secrets to discover. This only scrapes the surface of the beginnings of the Earth. And as the story said, our Earth is only half told. There is still several billion years that our Earth has before it inevitably blows up because of the sun. Who knows what will happen in the future? We are probably going to be major players in the future, so we've got to be like responsible. But for tonight, you don't have to worry about the future. You just have to worry about getting some sleep, and I hope this amazing story has relaxed you, because it has done to me. I feel like sleeping. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this story time, make sure to tell me, and I might do another story time. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next video.